What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cantina. Your host that's never here. These guys always are. I'm here again, hopefully for much longer. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sorry.
Are you saying you're like dying, dude?
Did you just have a stroke mid
I
intro?
pretty much just had a stroke. Dude, I haven't done an intro in a long time, okay? Because we took off for Christmas. All right, we haven't done one of these videos in a minute with me involved, so I'm a little rusty. So you're just
honestly, it sounded like you just said like for not much longer. Or for how much longer? Are you trying to tell us that you're dying, dude?
I don't know. I might have just had a stroke. Like we said, I might have just died right now.
All right, just want to make sure and double check because that's scary, dude.
Anyways, I botched up the intro. What else is new? Hopefully y'all had a good fucking holiday. It is December 30th here as we're recording this, so it's 5 days after Christmas. Hopefully you had a beautiful fucking Christmas. And we're going into New Year's here coming up tomorrow. So hopefully it's been fun for you. You've had some time off of work, ate some good food, had some drinks, with all COVID and bullshit and everything like that. But yeah, hopefully you had a good holiday. I know that we did. How was your guys' holiday, by the way? How was your guys' Christmas?
Mine was all right.
Mine was good. Nicholas had a kid.
Yes.
Yeah, had a kid. It was sleepless. I was up for almost 2 days. And at one point in the hospital room, I'm pretty sure I was pacing back and forth, like hallucinating. It was weird.
So like and subscribe, because this man went through hell.
Yes, definitely. Like and subscribe in support of this man's new child, his beautiful baby girl.
Saturday.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Cheers. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys had a good holiday. Let's get right into this video now that it's gone like all different which ways. We are getting into, because we all got the best Christmas gift ever, even if it wasn't on Christmas, the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Finally, we're getting into some Boba Fett, the bounty hunter, the man himself, the one that was teased in The Mandalorian, the epic comeback, the man in the suit with the rockets, the knee rockets, anything else that's great about him. How excited were you guys when that finally released?
I was pumped.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
I was freaking out.
Jesus. Apparently.
Chipmunks made an appearance.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they just raped my ear hole. I completely forgot that it released that day, even though I've been anticipating this. Like, it happened, and then I think, Cody, you had asked me, and I was like, I completely missed it this morning.
Yeah, I kind of forgot until Cody was texting me yesterday, and I was like, fuck, because I was just as excited, but I just kind of forgot about it.
Well, you had a lot more on your mind. It's understandable.
Well, I mean, not that much. I mean, come on.
Just a kid, dude.
The kid's gonna hate me in 18 years anyway, so
I didn't have much on my life. I was only creating life.
Definitely less than that. No, we created the life 9 months ago, dude.
That's true. It's a slow cooker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was excited for it. I ended up watching it 2 times today, kind of like 1.5. I watched like the last half again when my dad was watching it, so I could pick up on some things. And the ending was, I picked up right where we'll get into the specifics, but it was a fantastic episode in my opinion. As always, we're gonna rate it. So, what would you guys give the first episode? 1 out of 10.
I myself want to kind of go back and watch it because I missed some parts here and there. It was kind of spotty, but I don't know. God, I don't know what I give it. Maybe like a 5 or a 6. It wasn't awful, but like it was like, all right. I needed a little bit more. I don't know. It just was. I thought they were gonna kind of get right into it. Just I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like they spent a lot of time on they spent a lot of time on him in the goddamn Tusken Raider camp. Like, who gives a fuck? We get it. Like,
all right, well, we'll get into that. I wanted to know the number first. All right, I'm surprised.
To me, 5 or 6 is still like I'll watch it. Like, it's not awful. It's like just above average. So
it was
like,
a pilot episode, bro.
That's why
my rating was gonna be a 4.6 when I thought about it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great! It's a pilot
over there too, and I'm giving it
pilot. Great.
Fuck both of you guys.
No, I'm just surprised. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I wasn't giving you shit.
I was just surprised.
4.6 for me.
What did you say?
4.6.
4.6.
That's my rating for this episode.
Wow. Okay. I honestly was gonna give it a 7. That's where I was going. I wasn't gonna go like right in the middle of the road average. I wasn't gonna say it was great because usually I consider like
everything great.
No, no, I've been getting better lately. You have to admit, I've been more honest and like really dialed in. Like when I watch something, like I just saw The Matrix Resurrections, and I want.
Was it?
It's okay. It's not. We're not going to get hugely into this. It's not
Yeah, I just curious.
horrible, like to watch. But when you like attribute it to everything from the other movies and what they're doing in this one, it's just like it wasn't necessary. That's all I'll say about that. But we could talk about that off video because obviously we're way past the mark on doing a video, and I'm not wasting the time to do a video on that because it'll just be me shitting all over it all the time. So we'll talk about that later.
Adam shit in his pants.
Yep. Yeah, so I'd give it a 7. But why? Because obviously Nick started talking about Tusken Raiders and all that stuff. But Cody, can you give a little bit of why 4.6, like in a nutshell?
I just don't think much happened. Yeah, it's a lot to do with I was very pumped up for this show, and it just like we're only getting like 6 or 7 episodes, and this just felt like a waste.
That's what
felt like a waste.
Yeah, if we're getting that little bit of episodes, like you kind of got to jump into it a little more. Like we didn't need that much of like what happened to him from the Sarlacc pit on to like for the rest of the series. There's no way that all this was that important and that integral to the rest of the series.
Which I gotta say,
you're wasting a lot of time.
I gotta say, I was pissed about that.
About the Sarlacc pit?
Dave let me down.
On the Sarlacc.
Yeah.
Why was there like a specific way he was supposed to?
No, I just didn't. I just didn't want that to be. That's one of those things. Like I told you guys back when they did the Han Solo movie, I didn't want to see the Kessel Run. I wanted that left up for the imagination.
No, but not seen.
Yeah, like we know he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. I don't need to see it.
Leave it as
kind of. It was kind of like a fucking. It was a 2-minute clip.
Yeah.
There was no real struggle. He just woke up and just started fucking getting his way out.
Well, you know that they pulled that. I sent you a TikTok on it. They actually pulled that from a book that was written about how he actually got out.
Yes, I know.
So they took it from source material. It wasn't like they just threw it in there just because.
Yes. But what is a book? Interpretation for your imagination. When you're reading a book, it's not like you're not visually seeing it. Yeah. It just didn't live up to he escaped the Sarlacc pit. Like, look at the painting I have downstairs in my living room. I don't know if you know it, but he's fucking flying out with his jetpack, shooting the thing. Like,
I think I've seen that.
That's just like there's so many different interpretations of how he would have fought his way out of there.
Yeah.
And that way was just kind of bleh. Just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't extraordinary. Like I thought it would be more involved. I thought there would be more of like, an epic like escape to get out. I agree with you there, but I'm not gonna lie, I am happy that they at least started it out with that because that's the last that we ever saw of him before he ever came back. You know what I mean? So it was like, to me, it made sense to use that. A, they pulled it from source material. B, yeah, it wasn't, it was very anticlimactic of how he got out because I'm like, the only thing that I thought of was I was like, okay, they're showing him in there. They're showing him, taking the, the air filtration or the air out of the stormtrooper, and he's, put it in there so he could breathe, or, that's what I assumed he was doing, and then he's blowing the flamethrower, and then all of a sudden he just gets through the dirt. And I was like, how, if he was that weak, did he dig through all of that sand? That was the only thing that I was like, there's really no smart explanation for that. But also we're talking about, space wizards and lightsabers and in that universe. So am I really going to get nitpicky about giving a shit about, physics and reality? But yeah, I did think it was just like, oh, he's in here.
Say the Force ain't real, dude.
I don't know.
That's what he's saying, dude.
I think that is what he's saying.
And he's giving us shit.
I mean, something funny about the Force. Fun fact. I mean, technically Darth Vader can give handjobs from a distance. I think that's interesting.
It was interesting. So can Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, but he physically touches. All right.
You didn't specify there. You just said handjobs from a distance.
True.
But it's because of the Force. You brought up the Force.
Okay, that's fine. But
all right. Well, before we get into
Professor Xavier could, do it in your mind.
Ooh.
Let's not go down the Rolodex of who can give handjobs different than a normal.
You're the one who brought it up.
I didn't think we were going to get into that weird conversation of comics where it gets all like sexual and shit.
I was just trying to make it fucking that Silicon Valley show when he's like, but how long would it take to jack off everyone in this room? And then they're at the conference. He's like, do you know how many hands it would take to jack off everyone? Because I do.
It reminded me of what was it, Mallrats? That movie Mallrats, where they have an argument about I believe it was like Superman having sex with like Lois Lane or like the Hulk or something, and basically like the woman just getting obliterated. Like, how does that work? Is it possible? Do they actually do it? And it was like a full like intellectual conversation trying to break that down and figure it all out. But anyways, not gonna get into that. All right, that's for my internet feed, for my privacy. All right. But I mean, yeah, I did like the opening because it was a callback to the originals. I did like that for that fact because I was like, oh shit, like they actually have him in the pit, and all that stuff. So I was a little surprised they started there, but I was happy. Anticlimactic for sure. What was like, other than that, like what other big gripes do you have? Because you guys obviously gave it a lower score than me. So I'm more interested to hear like what your gripes were before we get into like what we liked, because I'm assuming for you guys it's not going to be much. What do you got?
I was kind of just really that stuff, like the kind of keep going back the flashbacks. I just felt like they showed too much, like way more than they needed to, the Tusken Raiders and all that shit. Like, I don't know, could have done without it.
Too much of a storyline there. I understand that. That shit didn't bother me as much as he just sits on the throne and nobody questions it whatsoever.
That was a little weird. That he just kind of like
he just goes there
right in and boop, done.
He's like, I'm taking over. All right. And then he goes to that bitch's place. He's like, I've taken over for him, and she's like, okay. She just pays him. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? There's no like takeover. He's just, I'm Boba Fett. I'm back. Like, nobody's gonna push back. Nothing. Besides that stupid mayor dude is the only one who questioned his authority.
Yeah.
I had a problem with that. I really did. I was like, this is very anticlimactic for a fucking criminal underground thing. You think they wouldn't just let someone come in and just decide that they're in charge.
Right. I kind of thought they would have something like, because they made it seem like he's going to rule, he's not ruling with fear and all that. That I was kind of thinking they would start off with like some kind of thing where he's got to slaughter people. And then that's when he's like, okay, we're not going to rule with fear anymore after he takes over that syndicate or whatever, that arm of the Hutt's bullshit.
The Jade Syndicate.
There was nothing like that.
That's from Spider-Man, by the way.
Well, I will say, I understand where you guys are coming from. The way I interpreted a lot of what happened in this episode, the Tusken Raider things, I think is a lot of foreshadowing to show what he's going
out later, some shit.
Well, you got to think back when we first got him in The Mandalorian, he had the Tusken Raider weapons on his back, right? So obviously he'd been with them for a minute. If he's got those on his back and we see in this one that he wasn't killing them, then there's something deeper going on with that. And it shows that he's not just a merciless bounty hunter. Like he's also like a guy that just wants to, do things without just killing people all the time and being like a fucking savage, because he could have killed that kid. He could have killed that Tusken Raider child like twice.
He should have.
And he didn't,
like Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin had the balls to do it. Fuck.
Well, I mean, he also watched his mom die, so I think it wasn't so much the balls as much as like emotional damage.
It was both. He had so much testosterone pumped through his balls from the emotional damage. That's how.
But I think that is a lot of foreshadowing to show how he's going to do things within the underworld, because he said he doesn't want to do fear. He wants to do respect. Even though he was captured by the Tusken Raiders, he was trying to earn their respect. He even tried to earn it through the child. The child, you can obviously see when it came back, was basically saying like, I killed the creature, even though we don't get that. That's what he's making all the motions like, I hit him like this and I did that. And you see all the people like, oh yeah. And they're patting him on the back. And that's why the leader gives him that water, because, Tamir Morrison doesn't say anything, and he's like, I know the truth. Like, here, drink your water. You saved our kid, or one of our villagers, yada yada. So it shows he's trying to earn the respect of the people. He came back, he walked back there. He didn't have to. He could have just bolted or killed that kid and left, and he didn't do that. So I think there's something more to that than what we saw. Obviously, they didn't show it in this episode. I think that we will get a lot more answers in the second one, and I think this one will be the slowest paced episode, because the next one's the remaining 6 that we're getting are going to be fast, and hopefully a lot more interesting. This one, to me, they made it slow to set the tone and give all the information so that we don't have to do that later at all. We can just move forward. There's no more like piece of flashback here, piece of flashback here. They just crammed it all into one. Let's get it the fuck out of the way. Him in the back to tank and everything like that, which, by the way, I have a question about the back to tank. When he's in there and they put the mouthpiece in, if he's breathing through and he's sleeping and having dreams, how is he knowing not to fucking breathe through his nose? Can anyone answer that for me?
No.
The Force.
Because I never saw anything in his nose.
That's not how the Force works.
That was just a weird thing for me. And I know it's a sci-fi movie and I shouldn't think that deep, but I was just like,
I know,
I
you
was
just
like,
said you didn't care about physics and all that.
I
You
know.
were going to nitpick.
I didn't. I'm
And
just
now
saying
listen to you.
it's
I
a
can't believe
curious
what you
question.
said.
It's a curious question. It's not a complaint. It's a curious question.
Nobody
But
listens
anyways,
to podcasts anymore. Adam's a hypocrite.
no one listens when I'm on anyway. They watch more of you guys than they watch me, so it's fine. But there was, I also think what happened with, you know, I know Cody said, and Nick, you agreed that there wasn't any like kickback to him like taking over. Bib Fortuna was a fucking clown. All right. So I don't think anyone really kept an eye or cared probably if he was taken over. No one gave a shit because that dude just kind of did the same thing that Boba Fett did. You know, Jabba died and he was just like boop on the seat. You know, so I mean, we don't see that happen, but you assume that's exactly how it happened. He just took the throne, and it was probably no kickback for that because they're like whatever, you know, and they assume they could push Bib Fortuna around because that dude was a bitch. And then obviously you saw he got fat and sloppy and whatever, so they probably didn't care. And you got kickback from the mayor. I think that the people that attacked him with the one big fight scene that we got in Mos Eisley there.
Best part of the episode.
Yeah, that fight scene is kickback to me. I'm thinking that it's from other gangs. You know, that obviously they're not going to go and pay tribute or go to pay tribute and cause problems. They're just going to try to fucking assassinate him and get rid of him, especially since he's breaking protocol, not riding on, you know, being carried around town and all this shit and blah, blah, blah. I think it was a sneak attack. They didn't want to like go to where he was.
Yeah. I mean, I assumed it came from the mayor.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the mayor. It might have been because of how nice those guys looked with the, like, you know, the fucking energy shields and shit like that. But I think it might have been another gang because if you look when he was in the desert and they stopped at one point before they started basically moisture farming, you know, digging in the dirt looking for water. They showed that gang attacking, you know, that family or that guy, which I originally thought, I was like, oh shit. I was like, it's like Luke's family. And I'm like, that don't make sense. There's only one person. I was like, there's no two people. I was like, never mind.
Plus they're fried to a crisp at that point.
Yeah. So I was like, but that was my first thought. And then I was like,
extra crispy.
I was like, I'm an idiot. But you see that gang attacking that guy, and then you see them tagging things. And I think that was foreshadowing the people that were trying to attack him later on in that town. That might have been foreshadowing the gang that was trying to take over, or one of the gangs, you know, that he's going to obviously be competing with. So I think a lot of this episode, we didn't get a lot, but if you look at it, there's a lot of hints to things that will make sense when we look back at this and we're like, okay, yeah, it wasn't exciting. It wasn't what I thought it would be, but now it fucking makes sense that they put this all in here now so we don't have to deal with it later and it'll just all flow.
Right.
That's
exactly what I said. This is a pilot episode.
I get that. Yeah. It just could have been maybe executed a little better.
Yeah, I really didn't hate it too much. Yeah, it wasn't exciting, but
I said, I was just too overly hyped for this show.
Yeah.
Like a second episode, I'm sure I'll love it.
Well, I'm always overly hyped for these shows, but I also know when it comes to TV shows, they take things at a different pace than you would expect a movie or something else to take. You know what I mean? So the pacing is up in the air. You never know until you start watching it.
I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. 4.6, I still loved it.
Yeah.
I was just hopeful for more, you know? That's all.
But that's out of 10. That's not even half.
Yeah.
Maybe he still scales his numbers differently than you do. It is relative.
I'm basing mine, like I said, off of being overly hyped for it. Like I thought it was going to be fucking just incredible. It wasn't. It dropped the ball massively for me.
I will. You guys might agree with me on this one. There's one thing about this episode that was incredible. The fucking score, the music score.
Well, yeah, there's not even going to be a doubt about that.
Did you watch the credits and hear the song as the credits are rolling? Did you hear like how?
And the illustrations? God. Yeah, I love when they do that shit.
There was one thing. The illustrations look more badass than the show did. I will say that was a little disappointing.
That's how the Mandalorian was too, honestly.
I also like the song in the Cantina. That was solid.
Dude, that guy was shredding in the Cantina,
yeah,
bro.
Dude, he was. I'm like, listen, I was like, this is fucking sick.
It was the same song too, I think. It was just played on piano and guitar, yeah.
Really? Because I'm like listening to it. I was wondering if it was the same song.
It at least had similar parts in it.
Yeah, that's where like it lost me when the guy would start shredding, and I'm like, okay, this sounds like something completely
remix. You are in the Cantina. Which shout out to Star Wars. It's the whole reason we named the show right there.
Yep.
Fucking that bar right there.
We need that sound effect now. Brr, 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 brr. And just play it right up front.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. That'll be dope.
That was dope.
So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to really pick out from it because, like you said, it was a lot of throwback to stuff. You know, he's obviously having dreams of everything that happened. They showed, you know, the taste of, you know, him going through with the Tusken Raiders and shit like that. But I'm trying to think. There was one thing I wanted to bring up.
That is my biggest gripe. There's not a lot to pick apart. It's Tusken Raider flashbacks and who's gonna give him pushback for taking the throne, because that's about it.
The one thing I did like in this, and even my dad mentioned it, and I agreed. I was like, I'm glad you said it because I thought the same thing. I think they're the Grimorians, if I'm not the pig people.
Gamorreans, yeah.
That was cool to see them actually, because my dad said it, and I had the thought, and I didn't tell him about it. So when he said it, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. When he's like, I'm glad that they're actually like fighting and getting involved. They're not just these like dumpy fucking creatures that are just waddling around. I was like, that's exactly
kind of cool. Yeah,
it was sweet to see them like do that shit.
Yeah,
and the fact that you were
that's part of the show.
Yeah, that they were like, he was like, you know, we tried to, you know, do this and this, and they said they wouldn't go against their leaders. And he's like, you know, will you be loyal to me like you were to them? And they just immediately kneel. And I was like, they just made these creatures so much more badass than I've ever, like, because when you see them in the old school movies, the original three, they're just like goofballs. You know, they're just running around like, oh, you know, squealing and being fat and like not doing shit. And they've got these big battle axes. To see them slaughtering people in the streets, I was like, fuck yes. Yeah. I was like, now I believe that they would be the palace guards of a mob lord. Thank you. Now it's believable. And it was practical effects, which I so am happy about in this episode, that they use practical effects for almost everything.
Oh, except so that guy really exploded.
Hey, stuntman work ain't easy, man. That's why these guys don't live long.
That dude got fucking vaporized, bro.
He signed a liability waiver. They were clear.
That was a dope kill, because he just like, he was pissed on the ground, and he just like, you could see in the eyes, it was just like, fuck you, just boom. Yeah. That parkour was pretty sweet too. I did like the parkour. I was watching my dad watch it. He's like, they jumped out and they started doing stuff. He's like, ninjas. And I was like, space ninjas. And the whole time they're going on the roof, my dad's sitting there and he's like, parkour. He just kept fucking saying it. I was like, this is actually the best part of the episode. You're making it funny. I was like, this is serious. This is real serious right now.
Yeah. That's what I needed, like 2 more scenes like that.
Yeah.
And the episode probably would have been like a 9.
It was epic though when he grabbed that shock, what do you want to call it? Shock spear. And he just grabs it and he's standing up with it and just giving him that dirty look.
Gave it to that dude. Yeah.
Just gut punches him. I was like, yes.
That so shit's great.
So we're going to get a lot more of that. I know it. There's no way we're not. So yeah, I mean, did you guys see that? Because I know there's not really much else to say about the episode. Did you guys see the under the helmet behind the scenes of like the history of Boba Fett that they had on there?
Not yet.
I didn't watch it,
but
it's good. It's good because I found out. Obviously, it's not spoilers because it's a documentary. So sorry about your luck for anyone listening. But I didn't realize that the first public appearance and first time anyone outside of the crew, before they even filmed using Boba Fett as his character, was in a parade in California that George Lucas wanted to have him in. Because it was his hometown and he was like, oh, I want to do something nice. It was like right after the first movie came out, before they even did the second one. So no one knew about Boba Fett. And they had him walk in a parade with Vader. And everyone, like, they showed the video of it. And it's like the first time back in 1978 that anyone sees it. And then like all these people are like, oh my God, Vader. And you could see, and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? And then like, you know, Vader and Boba are sitting there giving autographs to all these kids and families and stuff. And it's like the first time that anyone got to see him. And he was just walking down the street with all these people. And I was like, that's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
And I didn't realize that he originally wasn't supposed to be a bounty hunter. Like when they made that suit, George Lucas's original idea was to make that suit, but it was all white. And it was supposed to be the new, like, kind of stormtroopers, like super troopers, basically. There's going to be like 100 of them, and he wanted to have 100 of that armor set to be like the new stormtroopers in the next movie, the second one, Empire Strikes Back. but they ran into budget issues. And so they only had one suit made. And he said, well, screw it. We'll make him a bounty hunter. And then the department got on and started, repainting it and figured it all out. So they repainted it from the white suit stormtrooper look to what it is now. And then that's how Boba Fett became Boba Fett. He was never going to even be a thought. He was supposed to be new stormtrooper army.
It's interesting. And it works out so much better that he's a bounty hunter, honestly.
Yeah, because if you think about it would have been cool to see them as like an army like that, but it takes away the whole mystique of one guy, Yeah. And the fact that he was in the movie for 6.5 minutes with 4 lines and he became such an iconic character is just amazing. Like it's a good, I think it's like 30 minutes or roughly something like that to watch. Like I kind of gave you the meat of it, but it's really interesting to see how he became a reality. It's nuts.
I want to watch that for sure.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. But other than that, I mean, do you guys got anything else on it? Because that's pretty much it. I mean, like we said, there wasn't much to do with the episode, but I mean, I thought
I'm
it was
excited for the second episode. I'm not completely shitting on it. Like I want to go back and rewatch the first one, like I said, because there's some parts, stuff I want to just rewatch. But I'm excited for the second episode. I'm excited for the rest of the series. So
yeah, I'm the same boat.
I did have a question. So obviously at the end when that creature, came out of the sand and started attacking them, was I the only one?
Yeah.
Was I the only one that thought that might have been the Rancor from the palace that got loose?
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
I thought when I saw the hand, when I saw the claw-like hand, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a Rancor. I was like, are we about to see a Rancor fight out in the open? And then obviously it was, like you said, Goro lookalike. And I was like, it's so cool, but I was really hoping for a Rancor.
It's either Goro or Machamp. One of the two.
Machamp. Oh, that would be funny. But yeah, I was a little let down that it wasn't Rancor. I thought it was going to be a Rancor. And then when it finally came out of the sand, I was like, still cool, but I was like, I would have rather had a Rancor.
I'm sure they'll have one in this series at some point.
Probably. I wonder if it's still down there.
It died, dude. God damn it. Did you not watch the movies?
Yes, I know that one died, but I'm saying if they got another one that's down there, you know what I mean? Because obviously I just said that there would be one in the sand. I know that the other one's dead.
All right.
Threw a rock at the fucking he threw a rock at the fucking door thing and it slammed down and
that's
it was
actually not why it died. It actually died from COVID.
And now this video is demonetized.
Completely demonetized.
Sorry, I had to. It just popped in. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. I got
it's all right. You know what? No, because we don't make anything off that anyway. Fuck you, YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Get him, Adam. Fucking get him.
You don't give me money. I don't give a shit about your rules. Okay, I give this to the people for free.
That's what we do for the
freedom.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for us. What do you think?
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. What are you doing in my swamp? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
Actually, you want to see how dope this thing is? Hold on.
What do you got?
Hold, please. This is one of my Christmas presents, bro.
Oh, shit.
Fucking sweet.
That is a beauty.
Yeah. Pretty sick, right?
Yes, it is. You need to hang that up for the show.
I'm going to. I actually have big plans for this whole back area here. Big
plans. I got to reorganize mine because I've gotten a couple other things that I need to put in here. Like I just got a new Batman over here, new life-size Lego Batman.
Nice.
Beautiful. So yeah, we'll have to do some changes, but yep, that will wrap it up for our Mandalorian Boba Fett episode. Obviously, you guys aren't going to see us until the new year because it will be 2022 by the time that we get a new video out. Well, obviously these guys are going to do some streaming and stuff like that probably before that, but we will see you in the new year. Hopefully you enjoyed Boba Fett. Hopefully you enjoyed the second episode. Let us know what you think of the first one. If you agree with what we said or you have a difference of opinion, let us know. As always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you hate our guts. I want truth.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Hate our guts.
Only if you hate our
Only
guts.
way you can hit the dislike button.
Give in to your anger.
Yes. Give in to your anger. Do it. I don't know why every time I say that I laugh. All right. Well, you have a beautiful fucking weekend. Hopefully you had a great holiday. Have a great New Year's, and we will see you in 2022.
Happy New Year.
Peace.